cultures celebrate those who have led them, inspired them, guided them, and helped give their people inspiration, hope, and action. Today, the Onslow Civic Affairs Committee seeks to embody those who within our lifetime have done that for Onslow County. During the recognition of the far-reaching effects of the Beirut bomb blast of 1983, our community recognized that the fabric of our community had been torn by the loss of so many on that single day. Our community lost the potential of what could have been from the loss of so many lives. The lives lost that day were also interwoven such that all that were lost valued the contribution to the civic infrastructure. The Onslow Civic Affairs Committee was born of an effort to assemble people who were part of the fabric of our community and to recognize how we can improve our community through civic education. Ours is a diverse community made up of elected officials, of community leaders, of educators, nonprofit leaders, and workers, and people with military and civilian backgrounds, and regular citizens who want to improve and better our community. The committee was unanimous in adopting an effort to preserve and recognize those whose actions have spoken loudly and whose contributions to the fabric of our community have made it stronger and our future brighter. Thus far, we have recognized 22 individuals with 20 panels in our quilt of honor. Since induction, we mourn the loss of Ms. Fannie Coleman, Mr. Itchy Popkin, and Mr. Otto Taylor, as well as one of our last year's honorees, Ms. Pat Walker. Like many events, ours is a changed event as a result of the pandemic. Our normal timing would have called for this event to be in February as part of the United Way, Golden Rule, and Lightkeepers Award. Circumstances did not allow that. Today, we are doing a modified event to recognize these outstanding contributors to our community's betterment. There's no audience today other than their families and their friends and the members of our Onslow Civic Affairs Committee. But this modified event does not diminish the importance nor the significance of the incredible contributions made by those whom we honor. We begin this project to highlight the civic infrastructure of our community in 2017. Today, we recognize the 5th group of persons inducted into the fabric of our community status. The criteria for selection is that there is an unquestionable contribution to the bettering our community through a single action that has enduring benefits or a lifetime of work that has demonstrated a pattern of actions that together have contributed to strengthening our community. These members of the recognition group today unquestionably demonstrate this. Many of the Civic Affairs Committee will give recognition to these persons by a small, stretched piece of fabric that will represent a quilt of many persons whose collective work will inspire other generations into the future. And so it is appropriate that we now invite Onslow Civic Affairs Committee member Marcia Wright and her family, as well as others to the members of this committee, to come forward and to help induct these persons into our quilt of persons whose contributions truly reflect the fabric of our community.
Marcia Wright is a founding member of the Onslow Civic Affairs Committee, an organizer of the effort to win the All-American City designation for our community, and a nonprofit leader. For more than 35 years, attorney Ernie Wright has volunteered his time protecting children's rights as a guardian ad litem, and he was the first person of color to be elected to the Onslow County Board of Commissioners. Together, this couple has helped shape our community by advocating for appropriate representation, fostering the next generation of citizens, and working to advance health care, housing, and many causes. Together, their work has involved the Community Action Network, formerly under the Region P designation, and they were founders of the National Panhellenic Council of Jacksonville, North Carolina, to help bring the power of Black sororities and fraternities to bear for the good of our community. Marcia has served on and several times led the Jacksonville Community Development Advisory Board and its successor organizations since inception. but many know her best for her longtime efforts to raise awareness and support to combat sickle cell diseases. She has been the local face in our community for education on this disease. Marcia has served as the Executive Director of the Sickle Cell Disease Association of America, Eastern North Carolina chapter, starting in 1984. Under her leadership, the agency was recognized as the Community-Based Organization of the Year in 2011. Her husband, Ernie, says he believes, along with their marriage and 2 children and her grandchild, Marcia's more than 30-year career in the healthcare field and her work with Alameda Woods are among her greatest joys. Marcia was well known for how she represented Jacksonville in the effort to win the All-American City designation. Her passionate address about her adopted community was cited by the judges as impressive. She was committed to working on the effort until it was achieved in 1992. Marcia is a community organizer. Many times, she is the connective tissue between groups that benefit from her broad exposure to the needs and assets found in Onslow County. This includes the Nonprofit Executive Roundtable, Onslow Head Start Policy Council, and the Health Advisory Committee. She has also served on the UNC Wilmington Advisory Board for the quality enhancement of nonprofit organizations. She's been on the United Way Board and the Commission for Persons with Disabilities. Ernie says she's never met a nonprofit she didn't like. This continues in her work with the local Hispanic organization, which greatly helped during last year's census work in the middle of a pandemic. Her passion for getting the word out about the importance of the census made her a standard bearer for the message about how it would affect our community for the next decade. Both Marcia and Ernie have been active in the political world. Marcia serves now on the Onslow Board of Elections, and Ernie was a previous member. He was also a key force in the Voting Rights Task Force, which advocated for the current ward system in the city of Jacksonville. Both are part of the Friends of Black Children group, which for years has sought to improve the adoption rate of Black children. Ernie is a former Marine Corps attorney, serving from 1978 to 1982 on active duty and winning the Navy Achievement Medal. Out of his service, Ernie has worked with Marge Zima to facilitate hospice care in our community. He has served with the Jacksonville Tourism Development Authority since it began in 2010. He's the chairman of the Zecca School of Arts and Technology, and he has helped to advance ZECA, which stands for 0 to 18 Education Concepts Academy, since it was incorporated in November of 2009. Ernie has also taught law classes for Webster University and for 15 years has served as a basketball coach for the Jacksonville Recreation Program. Ernie works to help restore voting rights for previously incarcerated persons. He's a lifetime member of the NAACP and has been a supporter of the Kumbah Festival. His community service includes having been on the Chamber Board of Directors, Teen Court, Onslow Women's Shelter, Albert J. Ellis Board, the Partnership for Children, and the Association of Federal Employees. Marcia and Ernie have been married for 42 years. They have 2 children and 1 grandchild. Together, this couple has made such a difference in their adopted community that our community is a better place as a result of their work, their drive, and their passion. Together, Marcia and Ernie Wright, for their love of community, their tireless actions to benefit our community, and their clear ability to define and impact it, are hereby declared to be members of the fabric of our community. The fabric square they are holding reads, "From this day forth, the Onslow Civic Affairs Committee has designated that Marcia and Ernie Wright are forever to be known for their significant contributions in improving, strengthening, and benefiting the fabric of our community. Inducted Thursday, May 27, 2021. Congratulations." If you'd like to share.
I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out today. As you know already from our bio, this is not home for us, but I always believe in you make your family where you find it. We were coming here for, 4 years? Yeah. And fast forward, we've been here for 42. But it's been an experience and a journey, and we hope to continue it for as long as we can. And I just want to thank all of those who you see here in front of you who are part of our adopted MAID family in the Jacksonville-Onslow County area. And we want to thank you so much for coming out to share this day with us. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to echo Marcia's words. Of course, I'm Mr. Marcia Wright and everything, but it is so true about a nonprofit she never liked. She has always been involved. But I just want to say thank you, first of all, to our Lord and Savior. And I'd like to say thank you to the committee. Thank you to all our friends who took time out of their busy schedule to show up. Thank my fraternity brothers and all those who have been involved with this event. It's been, as Marsh said, we came here and we believe if we're going to live in a community, you've got to do something positive for that community. And we just wanted to add and contribute to the community, and we believe we did. So we just like to say thank you once again to members of the Civic Affairs Committee, and thank you to our friends and everyone who put this glorious event on. God bless you.
Our honoree, Dr. Ron Lingle, is not a native of Onslow County, but his service to this community has distinguished him as a champion for this community. His 28-year tenure as only the second president of Coastal Carolina Community College saw many changes in the institution, in the community, and in his passion for the military and economic development for this area. He is an Army veteran among so many Marines, and he is proud of that. A decorated medical evacuation helicopter pilot during the Vietnam conflict has earned him respect among many of the Marines with whom he has interacted. Perhaps it was his two Distinguished Flying Crosses, his Bronze Star, or 22 other air medals that helped that acceptance. Most of the Marine leaders could appreciate his notable military career, but many past Marine leaders have credited Dr. Lingle for sage advice about how to help this community. They appreciated his passion to ensure the needs of the Marine Corps were being taken care of, that military members could be educated, trained, and prepared for what the Marine Corps wanted of them, and for those who would transition to a post-Marine Corps life, that they could find the education they needed for that next step. Dr. Lingle made a pledge to the College Board of Trustees that he would work to make the college an invaluable asset to the community's two economic generators, Marine Corps Base Camp Lejeune and Marine Corps Air Station New River. He was the bridge between many military leaders and this community's civilian leadership. His 28 years provided a pathway that would be passed from military leader to military leader about how to interface with the community. Some of that confidence in his leadership came after he helped to resolve a conflict over the discharge of treated wastewater into the New River, intended as a part of a highly efficient wastewater treatment plant planned by the base. He created the pathway with the state's environmental regulators that allowed the plant to proceed. Today, that plant treats wastewater on and off the base. When there was a serious concern by base leaders about the inequality and stability in highly regarded teachers in the Onslow County school system, Dr. Lingle was again part of that solution that won a commitment from UNC Wilmington to put a branch of the Watson School of Education at Coastal Carolina Community College. With special funding from the state, space from the college, and support of the Onslow County school system, a much more stable supply of teachers was created. That stable supply helped to increase confidence in the school system by the military leaders who now had another reason to be voluntarily assigned to our bases. It also won national attention as a unique, locally created solution involving community colleges that was successful. When there was a pause in the leadership of the Jacksonville Onslow Economic Development Commission, he formed a tight group that met with the military leadership and brought economic partners to the table. It was a place for candid conversation and legitimate plans about how to make this community better and to provide for job opportunities. Some joked that these sessions were the Lingle lectures because of the direct and appreciated guidance that was given during those sessions. Dr. Lingle's leadership of the college has been celebrated for being what the community needed. His appointment of key people in key positions with the college boosted the community with economic development and educational support. Coastal Carolina Community College's place in this community has been made stronger by the service of Dr. Ron Lingle. This community's connection to the military continues in part due to the strong work of Dr. Ron Lingle. He is the only Army veteran ever elected to be chairman of the Board of Visitors for the Marine Corps University. He was appointed by the Secretary of the Navy to the board in 2001, and at that time was the only public community college president ever nominated by the Commandant. Dr. Lingle has received a number of awards for his work with the leadership of the Marine Corps on behalf of Marines, sailors, and their families. In 2001, he received the Sergeant Major Mac McKinney Award from the Non-Commissioned Officers Association. In 2005, he was presented with the Spirit of Hope, Bob Hope Award by the United States Marine Corps. In 2007, he was actually made an honorary Marine by then Marine Commandant James T. Conway. Also that time, he was the only public community college individual to ever receive this honor. He has been a fixture of the Military Affairs Committee of the Jacksonville Onslow Chamber of Commerce. Perhaps he has been the most enduring member of that group, helping to foster new members into the culture of this unique military-civilian interface. And all of this while running an institution that has provided so much to the quality of life in Onslow County. Coastal has been recognized for the number of students who transfer to state universities who do well after arriving. Those who have taken instruction from Coastal had a higher rate of success at UNC-connected schools than did any other community college for several years. This came from an untiring leadership that insisted on quality. Coastal is routinely recognized for exceeding national accreditation standards and for graduation rates. Dr. Lingle has left this community a better place. His recognition of the economic engine that is the military is firmly planted in the culture of leadership. His leadership of solving problems and sharing his successes has inspired others, and his passion for this unique community has prepared it for a better future. Therefore, due to his enduring service to our community and personal leadership within our community, we acknowledge Dr. Ron Lingle to be part of the fabric of our community. The Fabric Square reads, "From this day forth, the Onslow County Civic Affairs Committee has designated that Dr. Ron Lingle is to be forever known for his significant contributions to improving, strengthening, and benefiting the fabric of our community." Inducted Thursday, May 27th, 2021. You have some remarks?
Am I supposed to say something?
Sure.
I'll make it unusually short for me and simply say that coming here was one of the best decisions I ever made. Staying here was one of the best decisions I ever made. And I love this community, and thank you.
For Pete Burgess, his contribution to our community has long threads and many cross threads. One of those cross threads includes me. Pete and I joke that we grew up in the Jacksonville Mall. He was operating Chick-fil-A and I was operating the Peanut Shack. Many of the world's problems were solved on a bench. We would share to discuss frustrations, successes, and hopes. To consider the success of this grandson of a rich land sharecropper, one needs to know about the character of Pete Burgess and how he respects others. It also includes how he presents himself. He's a strong demonstration of a work ethic that he describes as, you have to pay before you can play. His unwavering faith in the value of hard work started in the tobacco fields near Richlands. At the age of 6, he and other children were taught to walk behind the adults and pick up whatever they dropped while cropping tobacco. It's noteworthy that he worked on that farm while he was in high school and summers until he was 19 years old. He credits his grandfather for sage advice to listen carefully, be respectful to your elders, and also try to learn as much as possible from them. Consider some of the other elders and influencers he learned from: his uncle, Ernest Humphreys, his barber and Richlands alderman, James Morgan, high school teachers, Nancy Barbie and Nelda Futrell, his high school coach, Willard Whitfield, and to his principal, Brock Ridge. This village that raised him inspired him to go to college. At 19, he got a loan of $700 from the man who owned the land his grandfather sharecropped farmed. While attending East Carolina University, he applied for a job at a Chick-fil-A. The store owner, John Holmes, later admitted he really did not need any additional employees, but he saw in Pete a polite, upbeat, clean-cut college student. This was the same Pete Burgess in whom his mentors had seen these qualities before. 3 months later, he was promoted to night manager. The hardworking, enthusiastic, deeply religious young college student had found a home in a restaurant chain that proudly proclaimed that its franchises would not be open on Sundays. Eventually, he was one of the 21 college students of Chick-fil-A who were trained in Atlanta to begin promoting the chain in smaller markets across the country. Chick-fil-A president, Tuitt Cathy, personally selected Pete Burgess to have the franchise in Jacksonville. At age 23, he opened that store in the new Jacksonville Mall. I can attest that he worked from early morning till late at night. Some of those times, the business was so slow that the only employee on duty were his wife and himself. He served eventually as the office manager, but in the early days, she also worked the front counter. He attests that the business got better and better, so much that he opened a new drive-in restaurant south of the mall in 1994 and eventually made history in 2005 with the third restaurant across Marine Boulevard north of the mall. It has been bragged that this is the only place where there are 3 Chick-fil-A's on the same road. And during this pandemic, it's been stated that if the world was organized as Chick-fil-A was at getting people through their lines, things would run much better. He had some practice. After many natural disasters in Onslow County and in some other emergencies, he's been known to have his stores open and serve first responders and emergency personnel. He's done it more than once, and it's always been much appreciated. Pete's success at running a great business is not the only reason that he was selected for this recognition. It's his character that has provided guidance to so many. Both Pete and I have a connection to the Jacksonville Youth Council, volunteering, and Sturgeon City Institutes. His daughters have been involved in these areas also. I was fortunate to be the first-time director for the Jacksonville Volunteer Center. I got to recruit from the wonderful students who were part of the Youth Council. And in those early years of Sturgeon City Institutes, led by some of those volunteers and helping the Sturgeon City Institutes while they sought to inspire and create young leaders. During those early years of Sturgeon City Institute, an inspirational speaker was needed for a closing ceremony to help inspire and ignite the spirit of these high school students who had learned about community, their personal power to create change, and how to vision for the future. Pete Burgess spoke in that session, providing a powerful personal testimony of the power of work, faith, prayer, and dedication. He also shared with them his lesson to listen carefully, to learn from everyone who has something to say. take care of the ones you love, and take advantage of the opportunities that hard work and a positive attitude can bring you. Pete has been recognized as a 2005 Wachovia Small Business Person of the Year and has served as a board member for the Committee of 100, the Sponsors for Academic Talent, the Board of Trustees for Coastal Carolina Community College, and the Board of Directors for the Jacksonville-Onslow Chamber of Commerce. Pete is a champion for Onslow County and this community. He is a model to be followed for the power of hard work, faith, dedication, and community service. For that reason, for his tenure, for his commitment to this community, we declare Pete Burgess to be part of the fabric of our community. The fabric square reads, from this day forth, the Onslow Civic Affairs Committee has designated that Pete Burgess is forever to be known for his significant contributions to improving, strengthening, and benefiting the fabric of our community. Inducted Thursday, May 27th, 2021. Pete, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, my good friend, Sandy. We go back about 40 years, and
We were babies.
we were, but I really don't know what to say. I just thank the committee for bestowing this award upon me. I truly love Jacksonville and Onslow County, and each and every day, my desire is to help someone or be a blessing to someone. That's my number one desire each and every day that I wake up. And I so enjoy helping those that are less fortunate than I am, because I've been on both sides of the fence, and it's better to be on this side than the other side. And so I'm thankful to God that He has guided my footsteps. I'm thankful for the blessings that He's bestowed upon me and my little family. I'm so thankful for my wife, who's here with me today. I wouldn't be where I am today if it were not for her. I can remember in the early days, I had small babies, and when I would go to work, they would sleep, and when I come home, they would be asleep. And she never complained about me working, because she knew I was on a mission for my family. And, you know, for that support, she's reaping the rewards today. So, but I just thank each and every one of you so much. I thank these friends for being here for me, and I respect them so much, and I love them, and I appreciate them for being here. Another one of my mentors back there, Dr. Ron Lingle, known him for many years, served on his board at the college, and he's given me some great advice over the years. And Mr. Heatherly, thank you, sir. Dr. Lingle, you left us in good hands. And my good friend, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Dr. Don Herron. He's a good, true friend. And I told him he was the only person in Onslow County that I couldn't outgive. You can't outgive Don Herron. He's truly a great asset to this community. But I just want to say I thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know that I really deserve it, but I'll say thank you, and I appreciate it.
George and Rosie Jones. George is a former mayor and was the youngest person ever elected to the city council at age 23. He is a successful business leader and the originator of the All America City effort, Caring Communities efforts, and leader in the campaign that purchased the Commerce Center. Rosie is the former downtown developer and leader, organizer of the Celebrity Players Tournament that produced thousands for efforts to support wounded warriors. It was on a Friday afternoon in the summer before the first Gulf War when a group of concerned spouses told then Mayor Jones that they were concerned about so many of their fellow spouses of deploying Marines and sailors that they were leaving. They believed that they would have better resources for taking care of them away from Jacksonville. By the Monday following, the Caring Community Committee had been formed and was waiting to hear how they could help the loved ones of those deployed. This one meeting laid the groundwork for so many efforts and eventually helped to produce Project CARE, the Community Action Readiness Effort that would be a plan for when another massive deployment would affect this area. Together, Rosie and George saw a vision for what a park would do for the revitalization of downtown Jacksonville, but it needed to be proven that people would come downtown. Rosie led Downtown Alive, a series of Friday evening music events that demonstrated people would come downtown on a Friday night, even with high school football competing, to partake in a social event. It was very popular, and people were disappointed when a storm or major event caused a cancellation. As for the park, the two advanced the park and professionalism for bettering our local downtown, or BOLD. Events were held there, and a major activity was the River Walk Festival. This multi-day event demonstrated a well-run event that could draw thousands. Like the Azalea Festival, annual artwork made to focus attention on the event became collector items. With the standard fare of music and vendors, even a regatta was added that demonstrated the value of cleaning up the river. George was one of 2 persons ever to serve as mayor twice, with others between their second term of service. When elected the second time in November 1997, he had a clear vision of making Jacksonville a better place. He held a major community summit only weeks after the election. It set in motion a series of actions. One was that the community wanted their river back. The New River had been degraded by years of pollution. A project was created to clean the river by using what was then an innovative use of oysters. It worked, and quickly. While he was on the city council, work had begun to build the first land application plant in the state. No longer would the city discharge wastewater into the New River. The oyster program was operated for Jacksonville by NC State, and people came out to volunteer with the scientists, including young people. That's where the concept of using the site where we are today, the old wastewater treatment plant, as a site where young people could hear the story of the restoration of the New River. He and others wanted young people to be inspired to become stewards of the river. Today, the Sturgeon City Environmental Center stands as a testament of what a community can do for the environmental stewardship and the continuing education of young people about their community and their ecology. That summit also produced the start of what is now Jacksonville Transit, the Jacksonville Youth Council, and support for what is now the Caring Communities Foundation. For some of these programs, he caused the creation of a 4-cent fund. It has funded many of the innovative and worthwhile programs of the city since 1998, when it was designed to fund the Community Summit projects. George saw the vision of what could be when he helped broker a deal with Onslow County to form the Jacksonville-Onslow Sports Commission, which has produced many overnight stays and economic benefits for the community. Vision and sports have also been a hallmark of Rosie Jones's involvement with our community. She championed a project to bring the Celebrity Players Tour to our community. Noteworthy names came to our community with the benefit to projects that helped wounded service members. Thousands of dollars were generated to benefit those wounded service members. Rosie was able to articulate a vision for downtown that brought many supporters to the table. While the project stalled after she left, the vision she helped to create lives on a model of what the future can hold. Vision and implementation were also part of the decision for Jacksonville Commons. After voters turned down a bond referendum for a recreation complex, George backed a request that the city consider the purchase of the 284 acres that is now Jacksonville Commons. He and others saw what could come of that in the future. And now George Jones is part of a group hoping to revive an effort to build a large multipurpose center. For vision beyond their arms, for actions that have produced tangible and permanent benefits to our community, and for contributions that are lasting and continuing, Rosie and George Jones are declared to be a part of the fabric of our community. The Fabric Square reads, "From this day forth, the Onslow Civic Affairs Committee has designated that George and Rosie Jones are forever to be known for their significant contributions to improving, strengthening, and benefiting the fabric of our community. Inducted Thursday, May 27, 2021.
Thank you. That was a real trip down memory lane. Sandra and I were just saying, looking back at the Riverwalk Festival and Downtown Alive every Friday night for 18 weeks each year. We don't know how we did all that, because we were a lot younger. Anyway, we thank you so much for this wonderful honor, and for me, it was my pleasure to be involved with all these projects. Thank you.
I want to briefly just say thank you, and I got a suspicion that Glenn Hargett did a lot of writing on what was just read. Who was also a big part of all those things that were mentioned, and I cannot sit down without saying in regards to Jacksonville Commons, yes, I supported it, as did the city council, but the late Greg Johnson, who was mayor pro tem at the time, that whole project is a legacy of Greg Johnson's and nobody else's, because it would not have happened if Greg had not been pushing us all. But again, thank you. Just kind of did what I was elected to do and had a great time doing it, and just so proud to see all these people that have been recognized today and be recognized with them. I told Pete Burgess I was in High Cotton this morning. Good group that's had a huge impact for the better for this city. Thank you again.
"24 panels now form our quilt. They represent 28 remarkable individuals. While the space they cover is small, the impact these people have made in our community is significant, broad, and deep. The Onslow Civic Affairs Committee will add panels to our quilt as time goes on, and as contributions to improving the fabric of our community continue. What will your legacy be? How will you contribute to the fabric of our community? If you are not involved and you are willing to pick up the mantle, we ask you to consider joining a board, a commission, volunteering, participating. Just become involved. The names on our panels are part of a unique group who stood up to answer a call. They responded to the needs in our community and made a positive contribution. If you are not contributing, we welcome the opportunity to expose you to volunteering, serving your community, and active participations in boards and committees. We hope next year to continue our partnership with United Way and the Daily News in recognition of all those who together make our home a better place. Thank you to those who have been honored and to those who came to be with them today. And thank you to my fellow Civic Affairs Committee members. God bless.